So now we move on to the ever-present, ubiquitous, everyone's favorite triangle, the TR3B. Anything having to do with the TR3B has to be credited to Edgar Fouché. I want to give him credit for Edgar Fouché. Also want to mention that Edgar Fouché has no first-hand knowledge specifically dealing with this aircraft. So he didn't work on this program, but he claims that he knew people at Area 51 who did. I want to make that perfectly clear. Also want to state that I don't want to divert any way, shape, or form or percentage from his original testimony. I want to give you his straight answers to a number of questions that I brought to his attention. This is his response, so I don't want to divert from anything that he had to say. Technical specifications regarding the TR3B. According to Edgar Fouché, there are two different sizes of the TR3B, approximately 250 feet per side for the prototype version, 600 feet per side for the operational model. The overall mission of the TR3B is logistic support and transportation for the Secret Space Command. If used on a planet or moon or large outpost, you would have a ready-made transportable space station. The TR3B carries a crew of 4 in the prototype version. The flight control system used on the TR3B consists of variable vectored intake and thrusters on the edges and advanced multi-mode propulsion engines on each tip of the triangle. 2 nuclear reactors serve as the power source for the magnetic field disruptor, also known as an MFD. The magnetic field disruptor utilizes a mercury liquid plasma, which is pressurized to 250,000 atmospheres and rotated at 50,000 RPM, resulting in a distortion or warpage of the localized gravity field by up to 89%. Therefore, G-forces are also reduced by 89%. So in effect, what he's saying is that this MFD interacts with how gravity interacts with mass. So you could be doing 1,000 miles an hour, make a left-hand turn 90 degrees, and you'd only feel 11% of the G's. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about anti-gravity per se, but a disruption of the gravity field. Materials used to construct the TR3B consisted of advanced composites, metamaterials, and titanium. 3 prototype TR3Bs were built. Cost per TR3B in $1990 was $1 billion per craft. Sightings by Edgar Fouché is 1975, high in the atmosphere at night at Edwards Air Force Base, 1976 within the southern part of the Nellis Range, and the late 1970s Groom Air Base. That's the one we want to focus on. TR3B utilizes telescopic landing gear legs with T-pads, operated by the National Reconnaissance Office, the National Security Agency, and the CIA. The craft exhibits a very low electromagnetic humming noise during operation. 1 light was located on each tip of the triangle. The craft incorporates electrochromic panels used for daytime stealth operations. So when you talk about electrochromic panels, what they're essentially doing is they're electronically transferring the image, what's in back of the craft, to the forward portion, essentially allowing it to blend in with the background, basically bringing it invisible. Vents on the side of the craft serve as variable vectored intake exhaust depending upon which direction the vehicle is going. So this is a drawing put together showing you these vents right here. This is the crew compartment and then the magnetic field disruptor right here. So then I asked Edgar Fouché, Edgar, instead of you just talking about the TR3B, can you give me an illustration of your sighting? This is what he came up with. This is Edgar Fouché's illustration of his sighting. This would have been 1979 at Area 51. This is avionics building number 9, the avionics laboratory at Area 51. Again, this is the longest runway right here. And he was going from the avionics laboratory to a blue blacked out windowed bus, Air Force bus. So it was about a 100-foot walk. And as he's walking to this bus, they had him wear these blacked out welder's goggles so he couldn't see anything around. Edgar Fouché is a pretty big guy, so when he looked down, there was a crack between the top portion of his forehead and the top portion of these welder's goggles, and he could see a crack of light. He looked outside that light and saw the TR3B about 500 feet away. This is according to Edgar Fouché. So if you look at this runway diagram, you look at the buildings, remember these are the Red Hat hangars right here, we're talking at least 500 feet. And so that's how close he got to perhaps one of our classified flying triangles.